What's up guys, my name is ESO and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about a strange build called the Dream Strider. This build uses magic, stealth and close combat. It's very unique but not overpowered, but my god is it fun to play. It has a theme of dealing indirect damage by getting others to do your bidding. You will find yourself coming up with methods of killing people in new and interesting ways. Overall, I feel this build brings a fresh approach to combat that you don't usually see, and encourages a new interesting sort of playstyle. First I'm going to go over the Dream Strider's backstory, so you understand her as a character, and then I'll teach you about the skills you have at your disposal. I will go into detail about how you can use the build, while giving you a few examples, and I'll also be covering your armor options. Also, if you don't like any aspects of this build, it's your character, so feel free to change it to suit your playstyle. I'm just giving you inspiration. This build is designed to have a weakness to encourage a challenging and more interesting style of play. So without any further hesitation, let's get into the backstory of the build, so you understand what it's about, and why the Dream Strider fights the way she does. You're a female dark elf. You fled to Skyrim after the eruption of the Red Mountain. However, you were treated poorly and shown little respect, if any at all.
Come here where you're not wanted. You eat our food, you pollute our city with your stink, and you refuse to help the Stormcloaks.
But we haven't taken a side because it's not our fight.
Hey, maybe the reason these Graysons don't help in the war is because they're...
With your kind scattered and hope lost, you felt alone and forgotten. Vamina, the Daedric Prince of Dreams, spoke to you in your sleep and offered you a deal. Stricken by revenge, you announced your allegiance to Azora and turned instead to the Daedric Prince of Amira. Under her rule, you became the very embodiment of psychological terror. Your ability to Dream Stride allows you to infect people's dreams, bringing evil omens of terror, all the time stealing their memories and striking your foes where they are weakest. You one day hope to create your own plane of dreams, a rift between reality and the dream world, suspended in time. Such a phenomenon is why you have devoted your life to studying the Eye of Magnus, the source of all magic in Skyrim, in hopes to eventually create your own plane of dreams, where you can attack people where they're at their weakest, where their strength means nothing. Dream Striders will remain unseen in battle, preferring to only show their face when it is too late. They enjoy watching the suffering and torment of humans. They trick the mind and ensnare the senses to fight amongst one another, unaware of the real threat. Now I'm going to talk about the skills and how you can use them. If you want a fast leveling guides for each skill, check out the link in the description. The sneak skill plays a big part in the Dream Strider's combat style. You will find most of the perks in this skill line are useful to you. Your main weapon, however, is the skill of illusion. To call it a weapon would be wrong, because you don't actually deal any direct damage with it. By using the frenzy spell, you can turn your enemies against each other, making them fight amongst themselves, while you stay in the shadows undetected. The people are your puppets. Use them as you see fit. You can also use the Frenzy rune to create chaos without having to be nearby. Or you can use it as a last defense against those who get too close to your hiding place. Fear is another very important skill. If you're discovered, you can make the enemy flee while stabbing them in the back, or just to buy time so you can return to the shadows. It's good to use the fear spell in one hand and the frenzy spell in the other, so you can maintain a constant distance from enemies and stop them from coming too close to you. Calm is also another noteworthy skill. You can use it on guards if you are caught stealing or committing murder. It can also fetch you cheaper prices at shops.
Finest cuts, fresh from the wild.
It really complements the mind control element of the build. As for perk investment, though situational, it is still beneficial to get the dual casting perk. This makes your spells last longer in duration and increases the level of opponents they affect, so your illusion spells will work on almost anyone. The most important perk, however, is the quiet casting perk. It is imperative that you get this as soon as possible. This perk allows you to cast and shout while in stealth mode without being detected. You will still find some enemies who are just too powerful for you to mind control, but remember, there is nothing stopping you from using other people around them that you can control to kill them, or at least weaken them for you to finish off with a dagger. Despite favouring magic, you do enjoy torturing victims physically. You often dual wield daggers for their light and quick qualities. Imbuing the weapons with fear and poison enchantments will allow you to cripple enemies as they flee from you in terror. You'll find that if you start this build at lower levels, you will need a physical weapon until you get your illusion high enough to solely use illusion magic. So it's recommended that you start off with illusion spells in one hand and a dagger in the other. This way you can train your sneak, illusion and one-handed simultaneously. Silence is key to this build. You're a walking nightmare, so your armour must reflect this. If you want a challenge, I suggest you use robes. You can get yourself master illusion robes, or just enchant Vamina's robes if you want to roleplay properly. Another choice, if you have the Dragonborn DLC, is to use Miraak's robes. If you don't know where to find these items, just check out the description for more information. You will need to use light armoured gauntlets and boots in combination with your robes to cover your body completely. People believe you're a monster in humanoid form. Your face is that of nightmares. To reflect this, I recommend using the Dragon Priest Master of Miraak, which gives you 100% Magika regeneration. That's a lot, it doubles your regeneration. I have a link in the description on where to find it. If you're having any difficulty using robes, you can use light armour instead. The Royal Vampire armour from the Dawnguard DLC is a good choice. It gives you 125% Magika regeneration. I have a link in the description on where you can get it. Using it will mean you have a total of 225% Magika regeneration. Furthermore, if you just want to be an overpowered demon of the night, you might want to check out my best mage armour in the game guide, which will give you unlimited Magika, and once again the link can be found in the description. But please note, using said method will make the game very easy. Now I'm going to talk about the weapon choices. There are a few unique items at your disposal that I recommend. Firstly, the Skull of Corruption. This staff does true damage to your enemies. It affects multiple targets and does 20 points to each of them. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually use the staff on sleeping people to increase the power of the enchantment to 50 points of damage. That's pretty ridiculous, considering it hits multiple people at the same time. If you want to know where to find this weapon, make sure you check out the other guide in the description. You'll also be using dual daggers quite a lot. I recommend using Daedric daggers. As I said earlier, enchant them with fear. You can further poison the blade using alchemy. Frostbite venom is a common choice, and easy to come by. I usually run around with a spell in one hand and a dagger in the other, so I can finish off any people that stray too far from the group. On the subject of vampires, you have the option to become one. It complements the build quite well.
This is the power that I offer. Now, make your choice.
In fact, it's insane. You definitely should be a vampire. You'll be a true demon of the night. You'll also get the added benefit of being 25% harder to detect when sneaking, and have the Night Eye ability. And most importantly, you get the Champion of the Night perk that makes illusion spells 25% more powerful. That means you can control higher level enemies, and when dual casting the spell you would even be able to control a level 100 enemy if you felt like it. I know some of you are probably thinking, if I use illusion, can I turn invisible? You're right, you can, but I suggest that you don't. It makes it very easy and it's quite game breaking. But what you can do is use some of the Standing Stone abilities, with a balanced drawback that they can only be used once a day. Firstly, the Shadow Stone, that allows you to become invisible once per day, which is just here on the map. And secondly, the Serpent, that allows you to paralyze and poison your foe at the same time. This is extremely useful when facing harder foes. The stone is located just here on the map. Plus, if you're a vampire, you'll have the ability to become invisible once per day, on top of all these bonuses anyway. And what about shouts? Well, there are some great shouts that we can use that really complement the build. Firstly, dismay. Those who are unfortunate enough to meet you face to face will be stricken by fear and flee from you. This is a good shout to use as a last resort. If you need a quick escape, blow this and then everyone will run away, giving you some breathing room so you can return to the shadows. Marked for death. You blow a cloudy vision of terror at your enemies to wither away their defences, leaving them vulnerable. This is a really effective shout to use before going in for a sneak attack. It will usually give you a one-hit kill. You can also use it before your frenzy spell. This will mean that your foes do more damage to one another. The last shout you can use is Aora's Whisper. You enter a dream state and detect all life of those around you. This shout is pretty useful for tactically planning when and who to use your spells on in dungeons. It means you'll never get caught by someone you didn't expect being there. All these shout locations can be found in the description of the video, along with some other useful links. I hope you all enjoyed this build guide and have fun playing it. You can also subscribe to the channel for more builds and guides. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video.